Flat trade on the large street in the opening session as investors maintain a cautious approach. Nifty range bound around 24,650, while broader markets also trade in tandem. PSU banks and metals shine in trade, while FMCG and realties trade with cuts.
Solar World Energy Shares makes a decent D-Trade debut with 11% premium, while Anand Rathi debuts at 4% premium on NSE. On the contrary, Jaro Institute slips in the trade after a flat listing, while Shisha Sai Technologies witnessed a muted listing on the bourses.
OEMs and channel checks suggest robust dispatches for September on the back of strong festive sales and GST rate rationalization. Two-wheeler and passenger vehicles volumes will likely see high single-digit growth, while tractors could see double-digit growth.
Blue Dart Express is on fire after the company announces price hikes of up to 9 to 12%. The company cited adjustment following its annual review of the pricing structure.
SEBI bars Man Industries and three of its senior executives, including the chairman, from accessing the securities market for 2 years over alleged diversion of funds to subsidiaries. Man Industries share nosedives in trade.
Fears loom over U.S. federal government shutdown after a seemingly unproductive meeting between lawmakers and U.S. President Donald Trump. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance says the government is headed to a shutdown because the Democrats won't do the right thing.
Street expects a status quo on interest rates from RBI Monetary Policy Committee, which would mark the second consecutive pause. Market will keep a close watch on RBI's growth projections and inflation trajectory as positive GST reforms, good monsoon and stronger than expected Q1 GDP growth will likely play a key role.
Hello and welcome. You have tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now, Niti Now, and you are catching this live from SBI Live Studios. I'm Sriti Sharma, and with me is Kavita. And of course, this is the show where you get answers for all your stock-related queries. In a short while from now, we will connect with our experts. But before that, Kavita, seems like the expiry action is kicking into the play, but the good part is that we are still holding on to the shade of green.
Exactly, and we are also holding on to that 24,600, a very crucial level which the market is trying to defend as well. The trade is muted, it's very range-bound. Expiry and other global headwinds and triggers are really acting up, and even the broader indices don't look like supporting the market as of now. But Srishti, we'll get all of this in action. Before that, let's proceed with a very important discussion that we're going to have. We're also joined now by Sanjay Namdev, Salukhe Chairman and Managing Director, and Ranjita Raman as well, who's the CEO, Jaro Institute of Technology Management and Research. Hi, good morning and welcome both of you. Congratulations on the listing. Now with the IPO raising 450 crores, how soon do you plan to deploy the fresh issue proceeds of marketing, brand building, advertising activities of the company?
So the moment it is done, we have already done the planning for that matter. So every quarter wise it will be spread, and that will give us a good push for the growth of the company.
All right, but Mr. Sanjay, how do you plan to diversify the revenue streams beyond the professional and the executive education programs? Give us some sense there.
So currently we have focused on the upskilling and higher education only, and we want to be focused. We don't want to get the defocus for that matter. And there's ample growth for this because the TAM, as per the industry reports, for 2023 was approximately 13,200 crore. Is expected in 28 to be approximately 41,450 crore. So the CAGR growth is almost 25.7%. So there's ample scope and growth in the vertical. So we don't want to be defocused. We want to be focused on the vertical. vertical and do good work the way we had done. Right, standalone, balance sheet and profitability, we are profit making since inception.
Ranjita, let's talk about competition. Now, with rising competition from medtech players, what is Jaro's unique value proposition that keeps your pricing power intact?
So there are several areas where we feel we've been competing very, very hard. The first one is the quality of partnership. So we've always focused towards bringing the quality partnership, which is tier 1 institutions and the premium institutions. That's first thing that clearly differentiates. Second is we are focused towards the learner's outcome. So we ensure we constantly be in touch with the learners, faculties, and ensure and understand how the outcome is being driven by these objectives. Third is our counseling approach. We don't sell or upsell any program or courses. We profile the student and we give them a proper career counseling and help them not just learn but grow in their career. And I think these are three major value which differentiates us with our peers.
All right, but Sanjay, your margins are among the highest in the sector. What operational efficiencies drive this, and can they be sustained going ahead? What's your visibility there?
That can be sustained or also improved for that matter. That's why the way we said we are focused on the premium partnerships, the best of the best learning, growth to the learners, and that's why the referrals are very high. We are among the initial players in this segment, and that's why we are having up the advantage right from the beginning. So the PPP, the per person productivity is quite good. The senior management team is very strong. So including ma'am, for that matter, she has land share in the growth of the company, 18 years in the company, the CEO. Then the CFO, more than 14 years. So the senior management team is more than 12, 13 years in the company. That gives us the upper hand and edge over other competitors for that matter.
Besides that, we have been very focused in our marketing strategies.
We will elaborate more on this, but also from you, I want to understand your roadmap for new course launches over the next 3 to 5 years, and any plans to expand globally. Do you see the time right for it, and do you plan for it?
Absolutely. So we are also looking at our expansion in the global market, not by being in the global market, but offering the best courses and programs from globe's finest institutions. Our focus on diversifying our portfolio has always been there. Presently, our focus had been more towards cybersecurity, the AI programs, and also working on EV technology, which are the upcoming new skills, and we identified this as a skill gap and we are constantly working on it.
All right, and along with that, how does Jaro plan to balance the technology adoption with the personalized counseling model that drives enrollment?
Absolutely. So personalized counseling is a very, very effective tool that we have identified over the period of time. While we train our counselors in all the latest skills that they should be able to identify the need of the target audience, which is working professionals, and guide them to the best suitable programs. So with this counseling approach, we have identified that we've been able to provide the best skills and also help them learn and grow in their career. We've identified that the latest skills in AI, robotics, cybersecurity has given a progressive change in the career transition in the working professionals, and I think we still want to keep it intact and retain in the long term as well.
Just to add on, for the technology programs, we have tech manpower, executives who can explain the professions well and counsel them well. For the management programs, you have all management graduates with experience so that they can counsel the management side. And also techno-functional, we have teams segregated as per the need of the programs.
All right, Sanjay, one last question to you. How do you see the online education market projecting in the near future? And if at all we have to give a timeline of, say, 5 years from now, how do you see it?
Yeah, as I said earlier, the TAM was in 2023, the total addressable market was approximately 13,200 crore, which is expected to be in 2020, as per the industry report, to be around 41,450 crore. So the CAGR growth is expected to be around 25.7%. So there's ample scope, and now people have realized post-COVID that okay, we can learn from anywhere. And now the quality education. Earlier, never people thought that in the villages or in tier 3, tier 4 cities, the IIM and IIT faculties can teach. So the real diamonds are in the rural India. In the metros, we are little blessed to have good faculties. But if the rural India gets the best of the best IIT, IIMs and the good faculties, the real diamonds in rural India, and then the growth of the country will be fantastic. So whether we talk about Viksit Bharat, Atmanirbhar Bharat, higher education upskilling is must for the growth of the nation. And because now this all best faculty will be available to the rural India, the growth will be immense for the country.
Right, so you have all the plans ready, and with that, it's a wrap. Thank you so much for being on the show and talking to us today. Thank you so much. But time for a quick break. We are also joined by our experts who will be answering your stock-specific queries. So a quick break, and post that, let's get connected with Avinash Korakskar and Lakshmikant Shukla, who are experts with us. You can also send across your question. Let's flash our WhatsApp number, and we will see you after this break. We are joined by our two experts, Avinash Korakskar and Lakshmikant Shukla. Hi, good morning and welcome to the show. And we are also joined by our viewer. I think let's just begin the viewer query session. And Raghavendra Rao from Hyderabad is on the phone line with us. Hi, Mr. Rao. Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Yes, sir.
I'm holding 450 shares BSc. And at the 2,617 average price.
Okay, got it.
What is the present position? Can I hold or can dispose? I can hold for a long period, 2-3 years.
For 2-3 years? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so let's get this answered. Avinash, how do you look at the buying price? 2,617, but the time horizon is also longer, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, good morning, Kavita. I think, the investor seems to have purchased the shares slightly at higher levels. But I think if you look at BSE, I think there are only two exchanges. NSE is yet to get listed. And I think if you look at the long-term growth trajectory of BSE, I think the opportunity is very large. So I think, the investor should actually take an opportunity to average at the current level. And as he has got a long-term kind of horizon, at least over the next, say, 12-18 months, hopefully once the NSE IPO comes, you're going to see the BSE share again getting limelight. In terms of profitability also, the company is doing pretty well. Their exposure on the F&O side plus on the weekly cash side, I think has increased. So I think, keep the faith alive in this company, but I think the time frame has to be at least the next 12 to 18 months and average and stay invested.
So that's the take coming in on BSc. Hope that helps answer your query. But moving on to another query then. This one is coming in from Sali Devi from Kerala, holding 100 shares of IRCTC at a price of 876 rupees. Lakshmikant, if you can help with your view on IRCTC, the price at which she has purchased is around 880 rupees. She also wants a view on BHEL. What will be your advice here?
Good morning to you all. Looking at the trend of the IRCTC, it is still trading in the downward trend and it has not made any reversal kind of pattern yet. And I think that we could see some more downward move toward the levels of 680 to 685 zone where its upcoming support is seen. So I think that would be the next support which we can see in IRCTC. So overall trend looks negative. It hold to the levels of 745 to 750. Until we see any decisive move of these levels, we will remain negative and we will see continuous fall. If it breaches the levels of 685, then further downward trend continue toward the levels of 650. So from my side, it could be exit call. We can exit it. But if we look at the structure of BHEL on the daily chart, so overall, sort of sentiment looks positive as prices are sustaining above the bullish crossover of 250 DMA. So that is also known as golden crossover. Once it passes the levels of 242 to 44 zone, then we will see strong upside move in BHEL toward the levels of 265 to 270 zone. So I think BHEL is looking good on the chart. So he can hold this, but he can exit from this IRCTC.
So exit from IRCTC, but then yeah, good time to invest, and even if you've bought it, good time to hold in BHEL. But then let's get connected with our other live viewer from Bengaluru, Jawad Ahmed. Hi, good morning, Mr. Ahmed.
Yeah, very good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, actually, I purchased this Tata Motors share, quantity of 1,262 quantity.
Okay.
So average price was 1,044. So I should remain. What I have to do, I cannot say anything because actually I'm in huge loss.
Okay.
Whether I have to hold or I have to sell it off.
All right. So I'm assuming it's short term, like an immediate strategy you are looking for. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
It is approximately 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, and it's a very high level also. Avinash, what would you recommend?
No, I think Kavita, in case of Tata Motors, I think the demerger of the JLR business and the domestic business has got the approval of the NCLT. So, I think despite the fact that the investor has purchased Tata Motors stock at a slightly higher level, I believe, once the JLR business is listed separately, it could get a significant premium in the market. And I think this is definitely a long-awaited event from the company. So I think, next 3 to 4 months, this event should fructify, and hopefully, the second half numbers for the company on a consolidated basis should be pretty solid. So I think, he should hold on. If possible, try to average, but definitely the tailwinds look quite positive. So I think, rather than booking a loss, it's better to wait for this event to fructify and to wait for the next couple of quarters. Once the numbers improve, the market will definitely re-rate the stock.
All right, so that's the take coming in on Tata Motors. Hold on to that particular counter is what Avinash is suggesting at this point in time. But viewers, it's the beginning of the month that often marks key financial activities, salary credit, bill payments and planning expenses. But just as we plan for our expenses, it's equally important to plan for our investments. To encourage this habit, SBI Mutual Fund in collaboration with Times Network is launching a nationwide investor awareness initiative, Bharat Nivesh, Behtar Nivesh, Behtar Kal. The objective of this initiative is to promote the habit of consistent investing among Indians, helping them secure their financial future. And as a part of the campaign, we are observing 4th of every month as a monthly reminder to ensure that you start your mutual fund SIP or ensure your existing SIP continues. So go on and set your reminder to invest consistently and stay committed to your goals for the financial well-being of you and your loved ones. All right, but for this viewers, it's time now to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. As we come right back, we will be taking more of your stock-related queries. Kalyani Rao from Bangalore wants to make a fresh investment in K-Fintech. What will be your advice? Is the company, do you believe, will be a good buy at this price point?
Yeah, I think, Srishti, if you look at the kind of business model K-Fintech enjoys, it's a very large player in the registrar space. And more importantly, it's a capital market kind of ancillary player. So I think as long as the capital market grows, there are more investors who come in, new companies, the business grows quite organically quite well. So I think, taking a slightly longer term view, if the investor can put a time frame of at least 12 to 18 months, this is definitely a very strong business with a very strong growth trajectory. So I think he can definitely chip in. He can start with an SIP approach and gradually increase his exposure. But I think typically for the next 12 to 18 months, I think he could definitely expect a decent risk reward if he can wait for this kind of time frame.
All right, let's move on. And we have one more question via our WhatsApp. This is from Atul, Mumbai. And 2 stocks to buy from NetWeb, Suzlon, IRFC or MRK. So any 2 counters that you might want to recommend as a buy, Lakshmikant, which would that be, or maybe all of them? Because actually we are not aware of the time horizon that he wants to stay put for. So assuming it's a short-term trade, so as per the charts, what would you recommend?
See, Suzlon is consolidating below its key moving averages. So I don't think this is the right time to make a trade, to do a trade in Suzlon. And from last few days, it has been making lower tops and lower bottoms with the formation of bearish candle. And it has also breached its previous swing low of 55. So further downward move could be expected in the stock towards the levels of 45 to 43 zone. Until it holds below the levels of 60, view will remain negative. But if we talk about IRFC, so IRFC has found some stability near the zone of 118, and from there we have seen upside move. In today's sessions, it has found bearish belt hold candlestick pattern, but if it able to sustain above the levels of 127 to 130, then after we will see upside move toward the levels of 140. Otherwise, again in IRFC also we could see further downward pressure toward the levels of 117. So from our side, I think it should avoid these two stocks. And if you want to make any trade, I think PSU banks is showing traction. So I would recommend to buy Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, and SBI. So these three stocks are looking good. So rather investing in these two stocks, he can go to invest in PSU banks, from where he could get a good amount of return.
Right, so that's the take coming in on the counters. But along with that, let's move on. The next query is coming in from Raman from Chennai. And Avinash, he wants a fresh investment idea, maybe 2 to 3 stocks where he can go and invest afresh. What will that be? And preferably from the mid-cap space, anything that is on your radar.
No, I think within the hotel space, we continue to like Indian hotels. I think the stock has been consolidating around 720, 723. In fact, two big triggers are, one is, they are planning to sell their New York hotel, the Pure Hotel, which should be possibly be seen in the next 1 or 2 quarters for about $2 billion. And secondly, room rates have been going up quite steadily. So, the second quarter is going to be equally strong, but the full year number is going to be also impressive. I think they should end up with a PAT of roughly about 2,400 crores compared to 2,000 crores last year. So I think we are looking at a fair value of 875, 900. So I think Indian hotels can be a good bet. The second stock, I think, is from the agrochemical space. I think agrochemicals as a sector has been doing very well. We like a stock called Sharda Cropchem. Again, a very strong earnings kind of trajectory last year. Even the current year should be equally be good. So here, I think you could look at a target price of around 1050 again over the next, say, 12 to 15 months. So I think, these are two good bets in this kind of volatile market where capital is protected and the risk reward can also be equally attractive.
All right, so that's a recommendation coming in for Sharda Corp. But then time for a quick break, and post that we will continue this question and answer session, and we'll have Avinash and Lakshmikant also with us. But then what you can do is just quickly send across your questions. Analysis. What would you say?
Is this question for me, Kavita?
Yes, Avinash.
See, Kavita, I think in terms of the selection of stocks, I think CDSL looks more attractive because this is a kind of an annuity business. And I think, I would say that for levels, Lakshmikant is more better placed. But as far as fundamentals are concerned, I think even at the current level, if one were to do a small SIP in CDSL and gradually increase the exposure, I think over the next, say, couple of years, the Indian capital market is going to grow quite significantly. And in that space, CDSL is a very large player. We have NSDL now listed, but this is a company which controls 60% of the demat share, and demat accounts are growing quite rapidly. So I think one can definitely look at accumulating this stock in a SIP fashion. And I think looking at the price potential, I think this can at least be a 2x in the next 3 years.
All right, so that's the take coming in on CDSL, but let's move on to another query, and this query is coming in from Ravi from Mumbai. Lakshmikant, he needs an advice on Sagility. What could be the long-term targets on this one? And Avinash, post that I would like to come to you because this company is in the healthcare business. I believe some of the earnings were actually quite good, but the stock is not picking up that steam. But Lakshmikant, please you go first. What are the levels telling you?
Yes, Srishti, you have rightly pointed out that the stock is not performing, and whenever it reaches near the levels of 50, then after selling pressure has started emerging, and now it is sustaining below all its key moving averages. So I think further downward move could be expected. Support is seems near the levels of 40. So I think if it reaches this level, then further correction could be possible in this stock toward the levels of 33 to 30 zone. So my view is bearish in this stock till it hold up the levels of 50.
All right, so that's the take coming in on Sagility. But Avinash, what are your thoughts on the same for maybe say next 3 years?
No, I think, Shristi, this stock definitely holds a very good potential because, the healthcare space in the US is a very niche segment and the company has made a very strong positioning here. I think the recent announcement that Donald Trump would impose 100% tariffs on, branded formulations actually created a little bit of uncertainty. But I think these are healthcare services which are very critical, and in terms of costing, the Indian companies are very cost effective. So I don't think there's going to be any negative surprise in terms of earnings, and numbers are going to get better and better. So I think the management team is also very competent. The bandwidth is very strong. So I would say that 3840 would be a good entry point, provided one can stay invested for the next 2 years. It's a very niche business, and definitely I think long-term prospects are looking good.
All right, so good for long term, and you're advised to just hold on to it. But yes, you will get the benefits later on in the investment stage. But then let's move on. Mohit from Ludhiana and Lakshmikant, he's bought 300 shares of Campus Activewear at 284. Assuming that it's a short term or short time horizon, what would be your recommendation, and especially with a stop loss?
The stock has been trading in the broader range of 290 to 260. So, and it has also found base near the levels of 260. From there, it has showing some kind of positive formation, and if it able to cross the levels of 290, then after we will see upside move. Otherwise, I think with this, as long as it hold up the levels of 260, he can carry forward the stock, and once it taken out the levels of 290, then after it will resume its upside momentum, and from where it could extend this upside move toward the levels of 330 to 340 zone. So with the stop loss of 260, he can continue to hold this stock.
All right, so that's the take coming in on Campus Activewear. But the next query that I have is actually coming in on Apollo Hospitals. This query is coming in from Jay Krishnan, and Lakshmikant, if you can help us with your view on this. He's having Apollo Hospitals at a price of 7,903 rupees. What could be the medium term target on this one?
See, broader trend is quite strong, but if we look at the structure for last 3 weeks, so this stock has been witnessing profit booking, but still I think that it is hovering near its 20-week SMA, so some pullback move could be expected. So I would like to give the stop loss of around 7,000. So that would be the firm support where we have seen the 50-week SMA also. So I think if it able to surpass the levels of 7,900, I think then after we will see a positive upside momentum in this stock, and whenever it surpasses this level, then it could move higher toward the levels of 8,500 to 8,700 zone. So I think with till it hold up the levels of 7,000, he can hold this stock.
All right, Avinash, one more question coming up via WhatsApp. This is from Poonam, and she bought Ease My Trip, and she has PNC Infra at 379. What's going to be your recommendation, assuming it's a short-term investment?
I think as far as PNC Infra is concerned, I think probably the next 1 or 2 quarters, the second half normally is a very good quarter because they are in the EPC space. Also, the order book is pretty solid. So I think, despite the fact that the stock is showing a negative trend, if one were to look at the next, 8 to 12 months, I think it's definitely a stock worthwhile holding. And as far as Ease My Trip is concerned, I think the travel space is still growing very rapidly. They are one of the large OTA operators. And I think the business is definitely rapidly growing. So here also, I think, if one were to look at the next 12 to 15 months, one can stay invested. Of course, the stock has underperformed, but I think my sense is the business is growing and you could see better numbers for FY26.
All right, so that's the take coming in on both of these counters. But Lakshmikant, your view on Canara Bank Bank as well as Bank of Maharashtra, I believe that you have been liking this space, and especially the PSU Bank Impact, wherein Ignitis is holding over 700 shares of Canara Bank at a price of 107 rupees. And he also has the 708 shares of Bank of Maharashtra. Buy price here is 56 rupees. What's the view for the next 2 years? He's been already holding the stocks for the past 6 months.
So first I would like to talk about Canara Bank. So this stock has given inverted head and shoulder breakout on the weekly chart of the levels of 119, and then after we have seen a consistent upside move. In today's sessions it has also holding at this neckline, and we will see further upside move in this stock toward the levels of 133 to 135 zone. So that would be the upcoming resistance level for Canara Bank. I think if it surpasses this levels of 135, then after we will see further strong upside move toward the levels of 150. So till they hold up the levels of 104 to 102 zone, so we will be positive and we will see further upside move in Canara Bank toward the levels of 133 to 135, and if it surpasses this level, then 150 is the next level which we'll see after if it will start sustaining of the levels of 133. Now Maharashtra Bank has also seen a upside move, and we also having a positive expectation in this stock. It has been trading in a range of 59 to 51 from last few weeks. But I think breakout is expected of the levels of 59. Once it taken out this level, then a strong upside move will be expected in Maharashtra Bank toward the levels of.
Sure. All right. Thank you so much for giving your take on those two counters. But then it's time up on the show. Thank you so much, Avinash and Lakshmikant, for taking time out and helping our viewers with their stock-specific strategies. And time to sign off from me and Srishti as well. But then you stay tuned because more coming up on the markets after this break.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।